Hello, my name is Charles, and welcome. Welcome back. Today's April 3rd. It's just after midnight. And Spirit is wanting us to put messages out to the world today. They've been trying to get me to post for like a week or so. And sometimes they're very, very intense. And the thing is, I've been going through a lot of changes, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, etc. So it's just a lot. But anyway, here we are. Better late than never, right? So here we go. All right. This is called the Kipper deck. And we're going to see, this is really a message for everybody, I believe. We'll see what comes through, if there's a message for particular signs or whatever. But there's a lot going on in the universe these days. We're having apparently there have been a couple of solar flares recently. A friend of mine told me that. And we're having Pluto going into the sign of Aquarius recently. We're coming into a place where Jupiter and Uranus are being conjunct, which hasn't happened for like 85 years. So, it's kind of like a once in a lifetime event, unless you're like a child and you're going to be 85 at some point. You know what I mean? But basically it's a once in a lifetime event, for most people. And the sun is going into Aries, and this thing's happening with Chiron. There's a lot of major events that are happening. Basically, all or most of the planets are sitting in Pisces and Taurus, which is, it's pretty intense. And, that will affect you in big ways, depending upon where Taurus or Pisces is in your chart, right? And it may not have an effect outwardly in a big way immediately, but it's definitely going to have some changes happening in your life. So Pluto was in one sign for like 20 years, and Uranus, I think, is in one sign for like 18 years. I don't know. So, it's a lot, and it's intense, and it's things that happen like over time. So let's see what messages we have for the collective, whoever it is that's like following my channel, whoever it is that's listening. What messages do people need to hear right now? So let's see. What messages do people need to hear right now? I'm going to pull 5 cards for the collective. General energies happening for all of us. All right. So all right, well, that's interesting. So, all right, so we have this card here that says high honor and privileged lady. Right? And when I'm being connected to this, I think the privileged lady is really talking about Venus. So I think that wherever Venus is in your chart is going to be bringing you honors. So there can be some sort of a, you know how people call it, like a glow up. There can be kind of like a glow up in your life. High honors can bring things, like Venus is connected to like money, but also beauty, things like that. Depends on where Venus is in your chart. Venus is the ruling planet for Libra as well as Taurus. So depending upon where those houses are in your chart, it can be affecting you, right? So Libra is related to like relationships, but you know, it can be a lot of other things. Like, I'm learning about astrology. I'm not really what I would call like an astrologer. I tell people like I know enough to be dangerous, right? And so there's that. So the next two cards say bad health and imprisonment. So what this is telling me is that like bad health is not necessarily related to like physical health. It can be mental health, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health, right? And so whatever your condition is something that can be keeping you prisoner, right? So it's really telling you that Venus is trying to help you to know who you are, really, like high honors, right? They're wanting you to honor yourself, to take care of yourself, and to not let your health keep you prisoner. Because, you know, a lot of times people want to identify themselves as their illness, whether their illness is like ADHD, whether their illness is cancer, whether their illness is you know, trauma from their past, right? Whatever their situation is, right? People want to identify themselves as that, and that can keep you a prisoner, right? And so the message that I'm getting here is that Spirit is telling you, don't let yourself be stuck like that. You know what I mean? Because you do have the card here also. The last house is called House. The last card is called House. House, to me, House is a card that can bring up about like stability. The home, right? It can talk about movement to a new home. It can talk about, you know, oh, all right. Thank you very much. So your body is your house, right? Your body is your home for your spirit, right? Because we are spirits having a human experience, not humans having a spiritual experience, right? So you don't want to be imprisoned in your house. They want you to be able to explore. They want you to be able to expand your horizons, like spiritually, because when you are experiencing or when you are exploring the spiritual realm, like meditation, whether you are receiving Reiki or whether you're a Reiki practitioner, Reiki master, whatever it is, right? Or just whatever, sitting out in nature, whatever your path is to explore your spiritual life, whether it is a religious practice, whether it is a spiritual practice, right? Like everybody's different. Everybody, like, there's a thing called like mansion. Some people call like a mansion in heaven, right? And So there's many rooms, right? And there are many paths to get to, like, quote unquote, like heaven, or to enlightenment, or whatever it is that you want to call it, right? Like, I'm not Catholic. I was raised Catholic and pretty soon got out of that. And so now I identify as a witch, and but I think even that is in the process of changing to be kind of more non denominational, whatever. Um, I just, I don't know. I feel like my vibration is being raised to a certain extent that it's like wherever spirit is trying to lead me, right? So I'm just saying, it's like, don't be afraid to be open-minded and explore different ways, different avenues to improve your health. All right, because like Venus and the moon, like there are like female planets or planets that are considered female. All the houses, there are like 6 male houses in astrology. There's 6 male houses or 6 female, right? So there's planetary activity out there that is happening, that is trying to improve like your health, right? So they're asking you to, continue to look into like raising your vibration, right? And not be stuck in your house. Get out. Right? And it could be like physically get out of your house and go explore nature, or it could also be, get outside of your body like that. Okay. So that's interesting. All right. Because one of the things that they're also telling me is that that it is, they want you to understand that it is, to explore the privilege of being on the planet, right? And no, your circumstances may not necessarily be the best, but there's always hope. And we're all here to like learn lessons. We're all here to teach people, and we're all here to grow. And if you're here and you're listening to my channel, then my hope is that the message is that Spirit delivers like through me help you to improve your life, your mind, your heart in one way or another. Okay, so we will see what's going to happen with any of that. We're on this planet to manifest positive things. You're welcome to manifest like negative things in your life, dependently. However, whatever you put out is what you receive, right? If you put out negative thoughts, negative ideas, negative actions, then that is what you're going to draw into your life. If you put out positive thoughts, positive energies, positive emotions, whatever, then that is what you will draw to you as well, right? And I understand that, depending upon your circumstances, it can be difficult to get away from that, right? like there was, like I know this woman, and she was going through a really difficult time, and she like hurt her leg, and she was having difficult with money, whatever, and I was trying to tell her, that whatever she's putting out is what she's going to get back, and I was trying to talk to her about the law of attraction and things like that, and she was like, why would I manifest this for myself? I'm like, I don't know. Like, why would you? I mean, why would you manifest, like, hurting your leg? Why would you manifest lack of funds? Why would you manifest whatever, right? It's like, and those things happen because it's like it's related to our belief system. It's like if you believe that you're not worthy of money and finances, if you believe that you're not worthy of good health, if you believe that you are not worthy of like decent relationships, or you believe that you're not worthy of like decent living quarters, etc., right? Then it's going to be difficult to manifest these things. So it's really important that you honor yourself, that you believe that you are worthy, right? And that you, like, part of like privilege, right? It's privileged lady, right? So lady is about, we're talking about like feminine, right? Divine feminine. And so we're talking about being in touch with your creativity. We're talking about being in touch with like your emotional state, right? And so it's like, look at different ways where you can manifest, right? Look at different ways where you are creating, right? Are you creating, like, stop creating like bad health for yourself. Stop creating like these like imprisoned like relationships that imprison you, or like work environments that imprison you, or any of those kinds of things. Set yourself free and create a sense of stability around your life. You know what I mean? So some people are like, oh, I'm not creative at all. It's like, that is a lie. That's a lie. I went to art school, and I thought that art, if I was going to do a drawing, it had to be a perfect replica of something, right? And as it turns out, that's not my art form. My art form is it's related to abstraction, right? Abstract art, and really being able to do different kinds of things, right? Like, this is something that I've done like recently, right? Landscapes, and creating like, the divas, spirits in the art world, spirits in nature, things like that, right? And what else? This is a much larger piece than what it shows here, but this is like my place in the cosmos. What else is out there? There are different things. So art is interpretive, right? Creativity is interpretive. Some people like play music, some people draw, some people create create companies, some people create um, flower gardens, or creativity is anything that you do that is new, anything that you are bringing into the world, whether you are a woman, whether you're creating life, whether you're a man and creating life and participating in the creation of life, right? It's all of that, right? So it's like nothing, but women are blessed with being able to bring life through their bodies, right? But it's not something that they do alone. So there's all of that, right? Like it takes two. So it takes both male and female. So, look at the ways that you're creating things in your life. Be open to all of that. So Eight of Swords talks about making decisions. To me, this is a card that will talk about making decisions that overwhelm you. It's about being stuck with your thoughts, right? Like the imagery is this woman, right, who is bound, right, and with a blindfold. So she's not able to see her way out, right? And she's feeling trapped. But the way that this is, and the swords are about the mind, so it's really being trapped by the mind, right? So it's like thinking that you're trapped. But if you look, they're not that tight. It's like she could easily get out of that if she wanted to, right? So this is why I talk about making decisions that overwhelm you, right? It's like you're going to have to be able to make the decision to set yourself free, right? This woman is in this card by herself, so it's something that she has to do for herself, right? Whether you're a man, female, woman, whatever it is, whoever you are, you have to make the decision yourself to set yourself free, right? Same thing, right? Like Five of Pentacles is worry. It's usually worry about money and finances, stuff like that, right? But these people in this card, they're not staying put, right? They're not staying stuck like that, right? They're moving forward, right? And this is a church, right? So it's meant to tell you that there is help available to you, but you have to look for it, right? And it's like right there. It's not that far, right? So some people focus on this boy, right? And how he has this bell around his neck. And so some people will say, don't draw attention to your to your faults or your failures or whatever, right? But again, it's like keep moving, right? Because it's like making decisions that overwhelm you to change. Five is the number of change, right? So making decisions that overwhelm you to change your circumstances, because Ten of Cups follows, right? Ten of Cups is, and it's interesting because we're going from 5 to 10, right? And so this is physical circumstances. Pentacles are physical circumstances. Cups are emotional circumstances, right? I use Ten of Cups for like marriage, happiness, and family, right? There's definitely some sort of like celebration going on around here, right? And so that song in my head, "Welcome to the New World." It's been playing in my head a couple of days now. I'm like, what is that all about? But anyway, Spirit is wanting you to be in a place of happiness, right? And that this is a time period that is all about like change, right? So knowing that change is something that is available to all of us. 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Knight of Cups. King of Cups is the most psychic king. He's ruled by his emotions, things like that. So he is connected to Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. Right? So it's interesting because we have the privileged lady, right, which is female energy. Now we have the King of Cups, which is male energy, right? And so we're talking. It's funny. I said the Knight of Cups, and then like here he is, right? King of Cups, Knight of Cups. So this is talking about how this can be a very emotional time period for all of us, right? And Mercury is retrograde this month. Oh, well, that's interesting. We have King of Cups, Knight of Cups, Ten of Pentacles, connected to the two tens. The Ten of Pentacles and Ten of Cups, right? So we're moving forward into places where there can be like more emotional stability, satiety, like that, and moving into a place where there can be more financial security, stuff like that, right? And also like the Eight of Wands, which is a card about communication. It's also a card that is related. It's called Swiftness in other decks. So telling you that this is a time period where, as a collective, that we are moving forward, and that that there are going to be positive things that are trying to happen here, right? That this is sitting with this card that says like bad health, right? Then we have the Ten of Cups. So what Spirit is telling me is that it's like, look at things where you have gratitude about whatever, right? So we have this card here, High Honors, right? And then we have the King of Cups that's like sitting with that, right? So we're talking here about make a decision that overwhelms you and honor your emotions, right? Whether your emotions are positive or negative, right? Because you have this card here, right? The privileged lady, right? And then you have like worry about money, finances, right? Then you have the Knight of Cups, right? So we're talking here about, again, we're bringing up this thing here that has to do with like gratitude, right? So even if you're not having like a huge amount of money, right? Or you're worried about your money one way or another, right? That they're saying here to be grateful, right? Because knights are active, right? So this knight is actively moving forward here in an emotional way, right? Even though there's worry about money and finances, right? So it's like practice. It's not easy, right? But it's like being grateful for, because that helps you to move forward emotionally, right? Be grateful for whatever it is that you have, because gratitude brings abundance, right? And that brings like better feeling emotions, and then the better feeling emotions help you with your whatever your health situation is about, right? And we have the Tower card. The Tower card is ruled by Mars, right? Mars cuts away things, right? So when you're in a place here about being grateful, right, then you cut away things, you remove things, you release things out of your life, right? You change your circumstances. The Tower card is a tearing down in order to rebuild, right? It's about getting unstuck, right? It's like kind of shaking everything off, like in a really big way. Sometimes the Tower card is something that happens for us, not to us, right? Sometimes the Tower card could be a really messy divorce. Sometimes it can be a reorganization, right, around like a company. It's a tearing down in order to rebuild. It's something that was not built on solid ground, right? Sometimes this is about getting rid of the people in our lives that no longer serve us, things like that. I mean, Mars is it's ruled by Aries, but also like Pluto. Pluto is about Scorpio. Mars is ruling planet of Scorpio. So Scorpio is transformation. This card is ruled by Mars, right? The lightning, that's the symbol of Mars. But a lot of times this card shows up, for me, it feels a lot like Uranus. And which is in the process of shaking things up lately, right? So it's like, yeah, it can be a messy divorce and stuff like that. It can be difficult, but it's causing you to move forward. It's asking you to look at whatever your situation is, right? It's asking you to look at what you are doing in your life, taking responsibility for your actions, right? And fine, I'm not saying that this card is just about like a messy divorce. I'm just using that as an example, right? Because it's also related to, shakeups. It's a tearing down in order to rebuild. It's a major reorganization, no matter how that is affecting your life. And so if you know your chart, you can look and see where Mars is in your chart and see where it's going to be shaking things up, right? Because wherever it is shaking things up right now, there is also going to become a benefit, right? To tearing down in order to rebuild. Where are you being asked to rebuild things in your life, right? To not be stuck, right? If you're going through a really difficult divorce, right? It's like you were stuck in that thing and now you are not, right? Free yourself, right? If you're in this company and it's really horrible, right? And it's like, I hate being here, blah, 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 right? Like, do not be stuck. Free yourself, right? Don't think about like, oh, I have to be here just for the money, whatever, right? Like, are you happy there? No, right? So free yourself, right? Do something different. Shake up your life a little bit. Do not be afraid to change your circumstances, right? Talk to people, right? When you're talking to people, right, you can talk to different people about how to change your circumstances, right? Talk to people about how you're going to move, how you're going to change your life, how you're going to get out of yourself, right? That's what we're talking about here. So, I'm going to pull 5 out of cards from this deck and kind of see what else is happening around here. See if there are any other messages that Spirit wants to deliver for you. Okay. So, what are the messages the Spirit have for celebration, which is Mercury? This card is Mercury in Cancer. I think that's Cancer. So this is Mercury. We are in Mercury retrograde right now. Mercury is asking us to redo things communication-wise, right? Mercury retrograde gets a bad rap. As a Virgo with Virgo rising, I can tell you that sometimes it is difficult, all right? But it is about redoing things, right? Redoing contracts, redoing communication things, redoing how you are talking to other people, right? Redoing how you are talking to yourself, right? Yeah, it's not a good time to be signing contracts, buying electronics, right? Mercury rules communication, travel, electronics. It rules like media. Anything really to do with like communication, right? And your body, your brain communicates, your brain communicates with the rest of your body, right? Neurons going on, and like, the synapses, all of this kind of stuff, right? So changing the way that you communicate with your body, changing the way that you communicate on an emotional level, right? It's something that can be really different, right? But again, shaking things up like that, you know, not being afraid of like negotiating, even if you simply start thinking different thoughts, right? There's when Abraham, right? Well, her name is like Esther Hicks. She channels this entity, Abraham, right? And she talks all about, always reaching for better feeling thoughts, right? Communication is about like thinking, it's writing, it's like speaking, right? So thinking about changing your home, right? Your physicality, your physical home, your body, however it is, whatever it is your home is, right? Some people are, they spend like 1,000 hours a week at work, right? So your home is actually your work. Wherever you're spending your attention, wherever you're spending your time, whatever you're thinking about mostly, right? That is where your home is, right? And so they're just asking you not to be like stuck, right? And because we do think that there's going to be like big kinds of like shakeups going on in the world. So, like re-identify like what your family is, right? There can be shakeups going on here about your family, right? Whether it is like family of origin or family of choice, right? Lots of changes trying to happen around here. So, and things going to happen quickly. So, all right. What else is going on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. We have celebration. So the Lover's card is not necessarily related to, it's not necessarily related to relationships. It can be, but it's not just that. The Lover's card is connected to, if you look down the bottom here, it's connected to the sign of Gemini, right? And we are talking about Mercury, right? Mercury is the ruling planet of Virgo as well as Gemini, right? But the Lover's card is really about like making big choices around your life. Sometimes when I see it in terms of like Gemini, I'm like, oh, could be a Gemini person in your life, but it can also be related to, sometimes I use it as a quandary going on, because Gemini is like a duality kind of thing. Like, what are we doing? Am I doing this or am I doing that? Am I doing this or am I doing that, right? But it's about like, so it's about making decisions, but from a higher source, right? Because it is a balance between male and female energy, right? In a lot of different levels, right? So, it's a lot of changes that are trying to happen here in a lot of different ways. So, and then again, we come back with the Five of Pentacles, right? Again, this card is called Worry. Difficult to see, that's backwards. So it's asking you making changes, right? New money, new physical things trying to happen around here, right? It's interesting because we're talking about marriage, happiness, family. My witch teacher used to say when the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups come up together, it can be a marriage, right? So, but when I'm looking at this thing that has to do with marriage, it's not necessarily who you're in a relationship with, like, boyfriend, girlfriend, 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 but, business partnerships, things like that as well, right? So, but if you were worried about changing jobs. Ace of Pentacles is a card that can come up connected to changing jobs, changing the way that you're receiving money somehow or another, right? The the Knight of Swords is a card also ruled by Gemini. But a friend of mine also calls this card like safe passage over troubled water, right? So it's about moving forward. It is a card that is about communication, right? And shakeups in terms of like communication, right? This is a card. This card's Five of Swords. It's called Defeat in this deck, right? In other decks, where is it? In other decks, it's called a stalemate, right? It's like stop fighting, right? Is really what it is. Let me just show you the other deck here. La 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 la. Oh, here we are. So this is also the Five of Swords. So 5 is a change, right? Like we said earlier, right? It's a change of the mind. In this particular deck, swords are the mind, it's thought process, stuff like that, right? But it's a stalemate. It's a battle that has gone on, and so it's like laying down the swords and stuff like that, right? So it's like so it's like you can be stuck, right? Or you can talk your way out of it, right? So this card, Five of Swords, is Venus. It usually says like Venus in, yeah, it usually shows a planet and then a sign. I'm looking for where the sign is. I don't know if it says like Venus in Aquarius. It doesn't say. It's got to be something. It's very strange. So, but again, it's a Venus-related card, right? Venus related to like money, but beauty, things like that. Venus is related to creativity, right? When we look at Venus, we look at the Empress. She is like the big Venus, is what I call it. Right? So the Empress, Venus, right? So again, she is all about like creativity, right? This card's called Defeat, right? Fear of defeat. But it's like we have to understand that we are creative individuals, right? That, you know, this is a card related to Venus. The Empress card is related to, it's related to motherhood. It's related to really anything. It's related to you know, it's related to like nature. It's all about like growth, productivity, right? Anything, right? And again, Venus is related to Taurus as well as Libra, right? Taurus is like money, finances, things like that, right? The Earth is ruled by the sign of Taurus, so they can be like stubborn people, right? So Taurus is like money, it's beauty, it's you know, the downside. Taurus people can be prone to being they can be prone to being like stubborn, or they can be prone to being vain, right? Taurus people tend to give gifts of a physical nature, right? They're more like physical. It's more of a physical related card, right? So take physical action around things, right? But the Five of Swords in itself is mental, right? So it's about like thinking, right? But it's a negative thought process, right? So it's really telling you that you don't have to be stuck, right? So it's up to you to kind of change your mind about your circumstances, right? Talk about where you want to go. Talk about where you want to head to, and be open to change. Spirit is saying to me, be open to compromise, right? So, which is interesting because this card, like we said, right, it's a stalemate. So that's why they're saying it's a stalemate if both people are sitting there being stubborn, right? However, if you're open to compromise, then there can be a change in your circumstances. Thank you very much, right? Spirit is telling us to write down communication, right? Words. Spirit is telling us to write about what our hopes and dreams are, which is the Star card. The Star is related to the sign of Aquarius. It's directly related to writing. I use the Star card for hopes, dreams, and aspirations. So Spirit is saying to write down about like your goals, dreams, aspirations. Write about what it is that you want to manifest in your life, right? And don't be afraid of defeat. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of all of the negative things that go on like that, right? And continue to do this. I used to have a practice whereby, right, so the new moon is about new beginnings, right? The full moon is about tying up loose ends. It's about endings. It's about the full moon, astrologically speaking, the full moon is in one house, and it shines a light on the house that is opposite of it, right? So if you know where the full moon is, it's going to tell you that there's a light that's being shined on whatever it is that's happening in the opposite house astrologically. But so there's going to be a light that shines like somewhere, right? The the full moon also is related to clairvoyance, so it can be related to like dreams, dreams that are like premonition based things, right? So during the full moon, be aware of like dreams and things like that, better information coming through like psychically, stuff like that, right? So new moon, new beginnings. Full moon, clearing blockages, tying up loose ends, things ending, things coming, things being made manifest, things that we have, we start the new moon cycle, things that we want, and then the full moon is about those things becoming manifest, right? And especially if we're looking at like a full moon in one side, a new moon in one side, and then it manifesting when the full moon is in that same sign later, right? Then it's like the full moon happens here 30 days later or so, a couple of weeks later, whatever it is, there's going to be another full moon, but it's not necessarily the full moon in that sign, right? So it may take a little while for that thing to happen, right? However, I used to have this practice, which is what I was getting at, in that I had a notebook and I would write down, like doing magic, writing down the things that I wanted to manifest, right? On the new moon, I would write those things. On the full moon, I would write down things that I was looking at clearing up, things that I was removing blockages of, things that I was looking at like, oh, this is manifesting in my life right now. This is a positive thing. And, this is what I was looking for. How is it manifesting in my life now, right? And what am I doing physically, right? What am I doing in my life to clear the blockages around the things that I am planting seeds for, the things that I am starting out here. How am I removing blockages? How am I tying up loose ends? How am I, you know, what am I looking to shed light on in my life? Right? So it's a practice that worked. You know, we're always looking at doing different things different ways. Right? So that's the messages that we are delivering for today. So, welcome to the new world. What is that song? Welcome to the new world. Lyrics. OYR lyrics. Welcome to the new world lyrics. All right. Strain your eyes, are ready to go. Feast your eyes on a new world, a new dreamland, a place where you laugh and smile. Along the way, stuff your belly and nap for a while. No one can hold you back. New fields full of mystery. The sky is opened up, and there's so much to see. Running wild. Just let your heart take the wheel, right? That's what they're saying, right? Emotions. Just let your heart take the wheel and show you the way. Fresh spring breeze. Adventure is awaiting you in the fields of the new world. That's where we're trying to go. The skies open up. The sky's the limit, right? Strange emotion. What do you feel? The roaring ocean of the new world. Don't be afraid. Face your fears. You'll hunger for more. Right? Face your fears. The tension builds. Plunge ahead on this thrilling tour. Think of the friends you've made, all of them living free. Their cares have been washed away by the wild sea. Laughing aloud, right? The tower, right? Cares washing away. Tearing down in order to be rebuilt. Laughing out loud. Even if you fall apart, they're right by your side. Hearts full of love, right? All about the tower. Yeah. Nothing but love to share. Venus. Love, right? Nothing but love to share with everyone we know. Whoa, new world. You love that. You heard it here. You heard it here first, folks. Anyway, again, my name is Charles. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, all of that. Be open to receiving the love and blessings of the universe. People build walls, right? But walls don't just keep people out. Walls keep you in, right? So tear down your walls, right? Let yourself out, right? Stop being a prisoner to yourself, right? Stop being a prisoner to your own thoughts, your own reality, right? You're allowed to change your reality. Your a belief system is just something that you continue to think, right? So change your thought, change your mind, right? Explore different concepts, right? And challenge your belief system, right? Some people say challenge authority, right? Well, if you're an authority, challenge yourself, right? See if things can change, right? Like sometimes, I've done things in my life that are like, I'm going to prove you wrong, right? And so I explored things and found out that like I was the one that was wrong, right? So you know, you're allowed to change your belief system. You know, you're allowed to go on a different path. You know, the highway has many exits. Feel free to change the road you're on anytime. Right? Explore different like spiritual belief systems, right? Like I was brought up Catholic. I changed that. I became a witch, right? But in the middle of being a witch, I ended up at a Buddhist temple. Right? And so now I throw Buddhism into the mix, right? Because I had all kinds of rage, right? So like because I ended up at the Buddhist temple, I learned like different like mantras, right? And the mantras helped me with my meditation practice, and they help to remove like all kinds of like anger and rage, and they help me to laugh, right? And I have become like more free in ways that I didn't even think was possible. So, you know, do something different, shake your life up. All right. Bright blessings on your soul, people. Find a way to laugh every single day. Find a way to laugh. Life is too short not to laugh. I don't care what you're laughing about, right? But laugh about something. You know, watch videos of like little goats jumping around a house. Something. I challenge you to watch YouTube videos about goats jumping around your house for 30 days. You know, clippity clop, something, right? Find a reason to be happy. All right, ciao. Thank you so much. Click like, subscribe, share, right? Do something.